Hi everyone, my name's Wart, and I would like to tell you about a strange, mysterious world, the one beneath your feet, a truly amazing place, one where the mole is king. You may not know this, but under your feet, under the grass, below the fields and down in the soil, or depending where you come from, dirt, lies a whole world just waiting to be discovered. You probably know some of the creatures that live there. Insects, bugs and grubs, and worms. They're yummy. And oh yes, moles. Now, I think that not many of you will have seen a mole. Maybe you've heard people talk about them, especially those roof stompers. Those people that come along and just when we've got things looking nice, stamp it all down again. They think that it's their garden. But we were here first, you know. And we've been here for thousands and thousands of years. So you're in for a real treat, because I'm going to tell you how we live and how you too can learn all about our wonderful world. And then you will be able to start watching us, watching you, which is kind of creepy, in a funny sort of way. Now, you need to understand a few things about moles. Firstly, we are not blind. We have two perfect eyes, just like you. You can't see them, as they're very, very small. We live in an almost permanently dark world, so we don't really need good eyesight. But actually, we can see very well in the dark. You can't. And this is because you need specially adapted eyes. Our eyes are specially adapted, and we can immediately tell the difference between light and dark. When you use special cameras to film in the dark, they need a special light. Or, like you, they cannot see either. They need a light called infrared. We can see this light too. And when we see it lighting up our tunnels, there's only one thing to do. Block it out and return the tunnels into darkness. Okay. It's dark in here. Can someone turn the light back on? Anyone? Thank you. So now you know that us moles aren't blind. But what else don't you know about moles? You might think this strange, but we can hear. But we don't need the hearing of a mouse. They have those big sticky out ears, which would get in the way in the tunnels and probably fill with dirt. You have sticky out ears, as you have a flap called a pinna, or auricle, which funnels the sound into your head. Our ears are teeny weeny holes, but we can still hear sounds. Sounds travel through the tunnels as they are basically tubes. If you speak into a tube, a person at the other end can hear what you are saying very clearly. Sound is a wave of energy and it can pass through things very easily. We can hear sounds all around us, even when we are deep underground. Here's a bumblebee. And a wood pigeon in a nearby tree. And an aeroplane thousands of feet in the sky. Our ears work in the same way as your ears. Yours help you balance, and ours tell us which way up we should be. Bet you never thought about that. If we live below ground in a complex network of tunnels, how do we know which way up we should be, or which way is to the surface, or up, and which way is down? We know that the soil may be warmer near to the surface in the summer and colder in the winter, but how do we know which direction to go? In our ears, there are special cup-shaped canals, which are filled with a fluid called endolymph. In these canals are hairs, and when we move our heads, the fluid will move, and these hairs will also move in the same direction as the fluid. These hairs send this information along a special sensory nerve to a special part of the brain called the cerebellum. This is how we know which way up we need to be. It's also very important to know which way up we should be, because if I didn't, then my hat would keep falling off. Living below ground means we have no concept of when it's day or night. Therefore, we have no perception of time. If someone is not stomping on our roof, then we can presume that you're all in bed, so it may be night time. We've got no need for time. We just eat when we're hungry and sleep when we're tired. Obviously, we understand changes in what you call seasons. Winter, as you call it, is when the soil turns really cold and the food that we depend upon moves to warmer areas or goes deeper below the cold layers. Summer is when it gets warm. The soil will harden and again the food will seek damp, moist areas. We have to chase the food around if we are to survive. Autumn is great as the soil is warm and damp. Worms like this time of year, and you can see loads of worm casts on the surface of the ground. These worm casts are, well, you know, poo. So if you see lots of worm casts, it means that the ground is full of worms or is providing lots for them to eat. Either way, it's great for us moles, so we are never far away. Autumn is when the leaves fall and the worms like to eat the rotting leaves. It's a great time for everything that lives in the soil. Spring is special as it's the only time that us moles will come together, as we are very happy living on our own. If we are to exist as a species, we need to meet at least once a year. We will tolerate each other, but prefer to enjoy life on our own. Maybe I'll tell you all about that in another episode. You'll never see a mole wearing a watch, so I find it strange that many people actually claim that we get up at a certain time, and even shout out that we move in blocks of time. Some say every 4 hours, some say every 8 hours. We are totally dependent upon finding and eating food, not a moment in time. Okay, let me break a myth. Moles cannot fly. Nope, we tunnel everywhere, so when you see piles of dirt on the lawn or fields, we didn't fly in, we tunnelled in, or we used old tunnels built by moles many years before, maybe hundreds of years before. Us moles have been under your feet for thousands of years, and you probably would not know we are there if we didn't throw up piles of dirt. When you dig a hole, you have to put the soil somewhere. We put it on top. The more soil we dig, the more or bigger these piles will be, and you give them names. Molehills. But it's just our waste. We dig to create tunnels. I love a good tunnel, and in good soil I can dig almost 6 metres in an hour, and 30 metres in a day is no problem, providing we find a nice big prize. You see, us moles cannot dig for no reason. It takes lots of energy to dig, and we need to eat to get the energy and strength to build the passageways and corridors. And we enjoy nothing more than finding the best possible prize, a nice, big, juicy worm, or 2 worms, or maybe 3. Loads. Loads and loads of worms. I will eat other bugs and grubs, but best of all is a nice, big, juicy worm. We need to dig to find the food, and we need to find the food to get the energy to dig. Every day it's just dig and eat. Dig and eat. It's really hard work. Just to maintain the energy, we must eat almost 2/3 of our own body weight in worms every day. So it's really important that we find food. How do you think we know the food is there? Vibrations. It's all about vibrations. When a worm moves through the ground, it'll make a noise. You can't hear it. But sounds are actually waves of energy which travel through the ground, and we can detect them with our special hairs found on our face, our rear feet and tail, called vibrissae. Now, I do like a good worm. They are scrummy. Sometimes we find loads of them, sometimes too many. Well, often too many. So we store them in a special chamber. You call these a worm larder. Like you go to the shops and buy food and keep it in the cupboard, we find lots of wriggly worms and store them in our special larder. Finding the worms is the easy bit, but they will not stay still. They wriggle about and escape if we don't stop them. We do this by biting them. Yep, swift bite. That slows them down a bit. They have to stay put until they feel better, which means they hopefully will still be there when I feel hungry again. You can't eat all of a worm. Well, maybe if you're a bird or a fish, then you can. But us moles, we don't eat the bad bits. Heads, tails, these are the bad bits. The heads are not nice. And the tail? That's its bottom. So we leave these bits. We just eat the middle bit. And if you look inside the molehills, you may find some worm heads and tails, as we often throw these bits out with the soil. Detecting these vibrations tells us where the worms will be and when we can tunnel in the area. We tunnel for a good reason. You may think it's better to run over the top, but we wouldn't be able to detect the food as easy. And we'd have to keep digging down to detect the vibrations again, and then pop back up and run some more. And of course, on top in your world, some things are bad. Things that would do us harm are things like bigger animals and birds with sharp talons. And it's not always as easy up there because you keep putting that hard stuff on the earth, concrete and bricks, so it's much safer and better to stay down below. We do pop up sometimes to collect a few nice soft leaves or dry grass to make a nice bed with, but our world is much kinder. Digging a tunnel is simple when you're specifically made for the job like me. Nature gave us some great tools. Look at these diggers. These allow me to rip and tear the soil, and what you may not know is that we have 6 fingers. Yup, a special bone, an extra bone, just before our thumb, called a sesamoid bone. It is under the skin and makes the hand wide so we can scrape the soil, but we prefer to push the soil with our back feet. Much like what other burrowing animals do. When you push things into our tunnels, we can turn our backs and throw the soil back with our rear feet and bury what it is you put there. I enjoy burying what you push, poke or pump into our tunnels, and facing away from anything that could be dangerous is better as we can scamper away. Okay, it's gone dark again. I suppose you think it's funny. We're not alone in our tunnels, oh no. Pesky mice and voles, those little rodents, take up home in our house, and that can spell danger. Weasels. They like to eat these little creatures and will eat us too, but we can escape either by filling the tunnels with soil, get to another feeding ground, or scurrying down into the deeper network of tunnels. We can move really fast in the tunnels, about 3 kilometers per hour, which for you is a quick walk. You live like us moles. You have a place where you can sleep. It's called a bedroom. And a place where you can get food from. You call it a kitchen. We have more than one kitchen, as it depends upon where we find the food. And that depends upon many other things like the weather, the soil, and what you humans are doing to the ground. Having more than one kitchen is important, and we can have areas where we find our food where the conditions dictate. So if one area becomes extra dry and there are less worms to find, we'll move to another kitchen where it's better for the food and we can feed there. Moles can have lots of different areas or kitchens to find food. If you were to close your eyes, could you walk around your house and not bump into anything? Maybe walk from the front door and get to your bedroom and not knock something over. You could try it, but best make sure someone is there to stop you knocking things over and hurting yourself. It's not easy, but us moles can find our way around the complex network of tunnels and in the dark. How do we do it? Well, we have a kinesthetic sense. It's not easy to say that, is it? It's fun, but it's not easy. A kinesthetic sense. Actually, you have this sense too. How is it that when you walk into a dark room, you can just reach out and touch the light switch? How spooky is that? Well, what it is, it's an imprinted pattern of memory. We can remember every turn, every junction, in fact the whole system of tunnels, and this enables us to scurry through in the dark. Did you know that we can smell? Not smell, but smell. You know, detect things by the scent they give off. It really helps us locate things, especially those smelly weasels. All you need to know about weasels is they smell and they bite, so best to know when they are around. It also helps us locate other moles so we can avoid each other. I'll probably have to explain that to you too at some time. Our tunnels have many turns and junctions, so we have the ability to smell by direction, which basically means we can tell which way a smell is coming from. It's a gift to determine which nostril is doing the smelling, so a smell may come in both nostrils or either this one or that one. This helps when you come to a junction, as you can use this to know which direction a smell is coming from before you decide which way to go. Watching us watching you will require you to learn many things, and I hope that this little talk we have has helped you understand about us moles. Next time you see a molehill, don't see a pile of dirt, but a key to an amazing world, the world beneath your feet.